To look at the pictures and the videos to find the clues that tell you the story about the weather. Chris, look at this map and find the front. We haven't drawn it on here, but it can be found very easily, actually. And
you can see where the cold air, the blue, is taking over the red.
You can see where the winds are converging together, and where you have that convergence, that's where the air is rising. It all works. I love when it all works out, right? And that's where we have the rain right along that area. So watching for some rain in Texas, not such a bad thing now that we've worked in more drought, unfortunately, in the past couple of months to the area. Not such a bad deal to get some rain out there this morning, and it is a fairly steady rain with not a ton of lightning. It's more of just plain old rain. That's what we're getting for you right now across a good chunk of southern Illinois. You can see the rain now from Missouri and Arkansas about to work into parts of Kentucky, Indianapolis. You had a couple of showers last night, but now we finally got the front on the move, Chris, and that's going to help bring in some cooler air. And that's really the story, is that we're going to get a break from the heat and humidity as this front moves along, eventually heading all the way like this, and that has been the Northeast. It's not your imagination. It has been a fairly dry summer. Take a look at where we are with the drought right now in the Northeast, especially New England. We've got some moderate areas of drought working in, a lot of areas abnormally dry. At the Capital District, Albany, and back into parts of western Pennsylvania, abnormally dry conditions on the drought monitor. Now, that's going to change this week with some rain, some good rain coming in. It might be too much rain in some cases. One concern that we have is that when our system moves into the east, it's got a lot of high precipitable water to work with. And what that means is that there's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, and when this front moves in and these storms get going, there's going to be some heavy rain. And Chris, will watch for that coming into the dry Northeast.
Yeah, we're watching that because it is just so dry. So you know that, as he mentioned, that we are expecting to see some rain, and it's on the way. It's not the hit and miss showers. It's coming.
No, yeah, we're expecting here a widespread area of rainfall that will be heavy at times. So, you know, as Ben talked about, it'll be good to be able to get that rain into the creeks and the streams so that we don't deal with flooding. But as this front moves east, it's going to bring rain. The Midwest, you know, we're going to get a day or two to dry out before the next front comes in. The Northeast, not so much. So we do have at least 1 to 2 inches of rain in your forecast all the way through the end of the weekend. Up next, we are take a look at the tropics and show you what's happening. Go out into the Atlantic, and we are looking at Grace, still a tropical depression, barely hanging on, winds at 30 miles per hour. And when you see it, when we take off all of this graphic and just put on the satellite, you'll see how it is barely hanging on, still moving west, still dealing with shear, still dealing with dry air, and there's really no hope for it to come back at all. It will continue its weakening trend. The best we can hope for is for it to instigate some showers in the islands where they do still need the rain. So this is it. This is what's left of Grace, a couple of puffs of clouds, and that's about it. Now we go up to this, and this looks a little more impressive. You can see the low-level swirl right there. Then you can see all the convection up here, off, not completely over the center. So it still has some room for strengthening and some room for development. It's a tropical depression right now, Tropical Depression 8. Henri is the next name up on the list if it does develop. And you look at the forecast path, and it is expected to strengthen. Winds getting to 60 miles per hour. It has some more warm water before it might start to lose any tropical characteristics. So we'll see what happens once it gets to the range up here around Newfoundland. But again, that would be the only area of impact, and it would be either extratropical or a weakening tropical storm at that point. All right, let's talk more about the tropics and where we are at this point in the season. Changes that are coming, and for some of us in the Midwest, we're going to see air like we haven't seen since May or early June. Chicago, that's us. So the last time we were below 50 degrees was June 2nd, when we hit 42 degrees. Sunday morning, here we go, 48 degrees coming your way. So we're going below average. We're going to bring in some cooler air, and we just had one front make its way through parts of the Midwest. It's this secondary front that's going to come through that really will drop in some more classic fall-like air into the area, and it's really the Midwest that's going to be at the heart of it. Some of it gets into the Northeast, but not as much as you might like if you like this taste of fall. So let's take a look at temperatures. High temperatures, we've got 71 in Minneapolis, 80s in Iowa. Tomorrow, temperatures are going to be in the 60s in Minneapolis, and 70. That's it for a high temperature in Green Bay. Take a look at Friday. We spread that air into parts of lower Michigan, 68 degrees, your high temperature in Detroit. St. Louis, the last time we were below 55 degrees, and that's a good measure for us here to give us a taste of fall, was May 31st. Sunday morning, here we go. We're heading to 52 degrees. Chris.
All right, so a little taste of fall, but it might not be the last taste of summer, right? So we are looking at the